building anything, it's not an overnight thing that some of these new, TikTok and all that stuff think it is. You can start a business today and be a millionaire tomorrow. That is not the case. I've been doing this stuff for over 30 years. So, just stay woke. If I had to do it again, and I would tell my younger self, stay woke and be vigilant, just don't change much, but just stay woke, meaning be careful of your surroundings. So just be careful of your surroundings.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Everybody that's smiling in your face are your friends. They're Brutus. They're holding the knife behind their back, ready to stab you. So that's about all I would tell my younger self. Just stay woke. Be vigilant.
Hey, yo, G-Dash, boy, take your hat off. Fine. This week on Hats Off with G-Dash Jones. Y'all know what you're watching. Oh. Y'all hear that right there? Hold on. Skirt. Okay. In case you don't know, you're watching Hats Off with your boy G-Dash Jones. Oh, and that was the theme music for the day. That's called Love Won't Wait by Nitro Nitra. Go and stream that now. Sometimes you got to bring the guitars out, y'all. This is a situation where I had to bring the guitars out. Again, it's Hats Off with G-Dash Jones, where I talk flavor with the tastemakers and talk change with the change makers. And today, when I tell you,
she does all the things, okay? I started reading them out of committees she's been a part of. I ran out of eyesight, okay? Like, wait, hold on. She does all the things, okay? And has the time to not only do all the things, but also had the time to have her own consulting business while doing work to help the community as well. In many efforts. AJa Ajavon. I hope I'm saying it right. Am I saying it right?
I'm saying it right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Welcome to Hats Off. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling fantastic.
Ooh. Yes. Well, can you do me a favor? Tell people a little bit about yourself.
Well, those who do not know me and those who know me, my name is AJa Ajavon, but everyone calls me Aja. I'm originally from West Africa, Liberia. I am the founder of Every Man Counts, Better Dads, Better Lives. I was a founder of DAB Mediation Consulting, which we closed not really closed, but I guess downsized and pivot to Ajavon Consulting Group, which is now international and national and domestically. So I do so many things. I'm a philanthropist in Africa in 3 countries. I have a school. I help students go to college, attend the school. I also help women in farming in third world countries start their farming industry. And, you can't really list everything, right? So that's who I am. I'm a lover of life. I love helping people. I love putting a smile on people's faces. And I just love what God has given me, the gift that God has given me to make sure that, I help those who I can help. So that's what I do.
Okay.
That's who I am.
Listen, I don't know if you know how to spell a blessing, but it probably sounds like the same way you spell your name.
Yeah.
I think they must spell blessing as Ajawon. You know what I'm saying?
I have been blessed, so that's why I give back. I've been very blessed.
Oh, well, let's talk about it. I want to dig into some of this because it's a world. How did your world start of this whole philanthropist, humanitarian? How did that journey start for you?
That journey started in 1980. In 1980, there was a coup d'etat in my country, and we had to leave. I was 10 years old when I came to this country. And, when you, as a child, had everything, my world was rocked. And if you don't know what a coup d'etat is, so an overthrow of a government, where a military fascists come in and kill the president and take over the government. So in my country, that took place in 1980. So many of us had to escape. I was blessed and fortunate enough to come to the United States with my family and start a new life. So when I was back home, I remember my grandfather was a humanitarian, but I didn't know what it was at the time. He just took in people that was living on the farm that didn't have a better life. He brought them in. They lived with us in the same house, went to the same school. My grandfather did that for people in the community, so everybody knew who he was, and I admired him so much. And I always wanted to do what he did. So when I came to this country, so many years ago, there's a lot of things that I was not familiar with. One, I wasn't familiar with a school bus. I had a driver that took me to school every day. So we didn't have school buses. I was not familiar with the fact that I was a Black person. I was an African. So I was, caught by surprise when they told me, when a white nun told me all the Black kids go over there, and I'm standing in the middle. I'm like, I'm not going over there because I'm not Black. So I'm waiting for the African group, and she's like, no, you have to go there because you're Black. So at 10 years old, I realized I was a Black person. So, talk about cultural shock. That's what I went through. So with that and my background from being home, I started as a young kid in this country at 14 years old. Well, before that, I think I was like 12. I started, doing stuff in my community. We were in Rhode Island. We were in New York at first, but went to Rhode Island and then went to Texas. My mom and I, my stepdad, and I started helping out in the community, like giving back, helping the kids. There was a lady in our community that was a single mom. And at the time, it didn't really dawn on me that she was a single mom, but she was a woman who had children. And I would babysit her kids for free just so she can have time off. And they weren't that much younger than me. I was 12 years old and they were like 10, 9, 10. So I started that. And then I remember the summer of, I think it was like 84, 85. No, summer of 83. She had given me $50 and said, thank you for watching my kids. It was spring break. And that was my first money I made from doing something that I loved, working. And I remember I bought my first Reebok and I thought I had made it. Oh my God, I had made it. I made the money, right? So I'm like, I could do this. And then I took that $50. I bought my Reebok, was $30. I had like $20 left. And as we're leaving the mall, my mom and I were leaving. There was a homeless lady there, and I took the $20 and I put it in her cup. My mom must have screamed, like, what are you doing? I'm like, the lady needs this money. She's like, but you don't give her everything. You couldn't go back in there and take the $20 back. It was gone now, but it felt so good at that moment. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just giving somebody. So from that moment, I'm like, wow, I like the way I felt by giving to people. So I started high school. I was doing a lot of things and I went to school in Houston, Texas. So a lot of my friends know me for giving back. I would go and collect clothes and go to the homeless shelters and just started doing things like that. After high school, went to college. I went to college at Purview A&M. And, I wanted to do more of humanitarian work and service in the community. So I decided to join a sorority that embodies, that type of thing. And I searched. I was a Kappa sweetheart at first, and then the Delta Sigma, the Eta Beta chapter, Delta Sigma Theta at Purview A&M really tugged at my heart because we started doing stuff in Pine Island, which is a community right outside of Purview. Just helping the underserved communities there. So, and I really like the mission and the statement and the servitude of, of the Delta Sigma Theta's, mission and motto. So I decided to be a Delta, which I am. I've been a Delta now for over 35 years. And I just like that part of it, that service and that humanitarian, the humanitarian part of it. So fast forward, did all I could do in my sorority, moved to Delaware. Nobody knew what Delaware was. You know, when you tell people I'm going to move to Delaware, they said, Delaware, what? You mean Philly? No, Delaware. Have you heard the song? There's a rapper from New York that said, you know where Delaware what? Delaware. Delaware what? You know, so I moved to Delaware. And then like everybody would ask me, do they have blacks in Delaware? I'm like, well, if they don't, they got me now, you know? But I've been in Delaware for 26 years and I've loved it. It has welcomed me. I have grown a lot in Delaware, you know, working in nonprofit, work for Catholic Charities, helped so many people because as you know, I love working and helping people. So Catholic Charities were just right under my, you know, part of my repertoire. And, you know, all of that, I became a mediator in family court, again, helping people. And, you know, as a mediator, I grew fast because I loved listening and discerning and trying to navigate the conversation between the two parties. From that, I saw that, and this is where every man counts comes from. Working as a mediator in family court in Delaware first, I realized that a lot of Black and brown fathers were not given the resources that they needed. So oftentimes they will come into my office and for mediation, it was clueless as to what to do. So here comes the hat, the humanitarian hat, the service hat comes on. I'm like, okay, what can I do to make this better? So every other Friday I had off from court and would just be in my office to work on paperwork and do stuff that I needed to do. So what I would do is during the week, if I had a mediation and I saw that that father was confused, instead of moving them to the judge, I would reschedule them for the Fridays that I was off. Now, it wasn't, you know, it wasn't favorable with mothers who wanted their money right away or wanted the father out of their child's life. But I didn't feel that it was fair. So from that, we were able to make sure that the fathers that were coming in were getting the help that they needed. And from that, I had a couple of judges that really liked the fact that of what I was doing. So they would ask me to come into the courtroom with them to see whether a case could be mediated or not. You know, a lot of judges really liked the fact that I took my time to invest in these fathers, or so much the constituents that was coming in. Fast forward, I was able to go to New Jersey and do the same thing in Superior Court, Family Division. With that being said, I decided myself and one of the judges had talked about it and said, you know what? You will be so great if you do this by yourself. Like if you open a practice where you don't have the bureaucracy of what you can and cannot do. So I opened my own practice, the first Black mediator in Delaware, female. And it was a challenge. It was a huge challenge. So in the meantime, I was in a master's program and I decided to do a work on the recidivism rate in Delaware and what's the cost of us Black and brown fathers going back to jail when they're out. And that's why I realized it wasn't only Black and brown fathers, but the majority of the Black and brown fathers were going back. So it was every man, whites, Blacks, Hispanic, Asian, every man was going through these things, but the numbers were higher on our side. So here comes every man counts.
Hold on. Listen, there was a lot. Okay, listen. You in the back. Okay, you was in the back. I know. You heard that she had a driver in Africa. That's what you heard. Okay. And then we ended with, she said, how much does it cost? That's an important statement that I'm going to get back to, because that was the flyest part of the study that you did right there. We said, wait, how much does it cost us? And that, because in this world, sometimes when you need things to move and you want, especially governmental things to move, sometimes the numbers help a lot.
Yes.
But before we get there, so
yes,
we're basically coming to Delaware of all places. Like, I know they said Delaware. I'm from here. Hey, look, bless it, I like it. You know what I'm saying? But why'd you say Delaware?
Let me tell you the true story about me coming to Delaware. I was on my way back to Houston, Texas, driving from Rhode Island because I was just done I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I was driving through Delaware, because you have to go through 95 and go through Virginia and all that stuff. So I was going through Delaware. And when I crossed the Delaware Memorial Bridge, and I crossed it many times because I have family in Maryland and I would drive to Atlanta and, I've crossed it many times prior. But when I crossed it that day, it's like, have you ever envisioned that, hallelujah? It's just something just stuck with me when I crossed that bridge and went over. And I'm like, this is where I'm supposed to be. I swear to God, that's how and my ex-husband was like, no, we're not staying here. I said, something about this place. Let's just spend the night. He's like, no, there's nothing. And Delaware, 26 years ago, didn't even have a land, the downtown, half of those buildings were not even there. So you're coming from skyscrapers and you're coming to a place where you're pretty much as the same height as the buildings. I'm just joking, but my ex-husband was like, no, we're not staying here. No. And I felt something about Delaware. It was just something about Delaware that I wanted to be here. Didn't know anything about Delaware. Didn't even know it was a tax-free state. And when I found out, that made it even better. But I didn't know anything about Delaware. Anything. So we spent a night in Delaware. He hated that night. I loved it because I love Christiana Mall. I loved it. Before all that good stuff that's there now, it wasn't there. I just liked the mall. And it reminded me of Houston's mall, because where we came from, Rhode Island, the malls wasn't like that. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to like it here. So we spend the night. And then that one night became 2 nights and then 3 nights. So now the trip to Texas is already put aside. And everybody, all my friends, my high school friends, my college friends were all pissed because I hadn't gotten there yet because they were so happy that I was coming back. And we went back to Rhode Island. I had a house in Rhode Island. We started thinking, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put this house up for rent. If I don't make it in Delaware, I'll always come back. I'll put a tenant in here and I will go back. And I never went back. 26 years later, never went back. Sold the house, divorced.
Now, I will say that
He went back.
That's extremely impressive. Like, and when I say that, but it does make sense to me because just to go back a little bit further, for you to like when you came to the States, it was under duress. So coming to Delaware, of your own free will, it's kind of like
absolutely.
At least there's no duress with this one.
Yeah.
It's easier to.
It's just everybody didn't know where Delaware was. But you know what? To be honest with you, when I moved to Delaware, I didn't have not one friend, not one family member. Only my ex-husband and my 2 children that was all we had. All we had. When I moved, put my stuff in storage. When I moved here, I stayed in the hotel for like a week until I found an apartment. And every friend that I have in Delaware, I made it when I came here. But however, 2 of my good friends moved from Rhode Island to Delaware because of me and my mother.
It was like you brought some people with you. Okay.
I brought some people with me. Yes, I did. But I love Delaware. Delaware has done really good. Has done good by me. I like it.
Now I do want to ask, how long was it before you went back to Africa?
34 years after.
Ooh, what was the catalyst? What was like, all right, it's time?
My dad died, and I went back to bury him. And when I went, it was like a cultural shock when I went back because remember I told you we had a war, and that war lasted for almost 20 years. So, and I was out of there for 34 of those 20 years, so, and it was a culture shock because I didn't expect my country to look the way it did. And, it tugged at my heart that people that I went to school with, even though I left them when I was 10, I lost a lot of friends in that war. A lot of people died. My grandfather died in that war. So it was something that really, really tugged at my heart that a lot of these kids after the war had not gone to school because of that for so many years. So you had 12-year-olds in first grade and 15-year-olds in fifth grade and 16-year-olds, because they had to go back to school. And for so many years, they couldn't go to school because of the war, So that's where my philanthropy work started in 2014, because I felt that I had to give back. I felt that, I cheated death, if that makes sense, because I was able to leave and they couldn't, and they end up losing their lives, and the kids didn't get the opportunity that I had to go to school, to go to college, had my children get married, do the things that any typical person my age would have done. So I felt like I was obligated to give back to my country, to the people in my country. So I started my philanthropy work then. I, adopted a couple of kids, put them in school, paid their tuition. Most of them already graduated from college. Some dropped out, because that's by choice. It wasn't because of financial. Because I made a promise to them that I was going to help. And since 2014, I've been going back and been doing things. I just finished an apartment building. And I have students that go to college around the corner from the apartment that live there. As long as they keep those grades up. If they don't, I'm going to throw them out. But, it's just, it doesn't cost that much. I'm just trying to tell you guys. So don't think that, she got all this. No, it doesn't. A year's tuition is about $300 something. Okay. So, and that's college. So, yeah.
Oh, because because school in other countries don't have all the extra tax on it, if you will.
Because per credit hour is like $20 per credit, so it's not like $500 per credit. It's like $20 per credit. Okay. So, a good meal here at a restaurant can pay someone's tuition for a year.
Well,
okay.
Listen, I appreciate you. I listen, when I brought you on the show, I didn't know I was interviewing the local version of Oprah. You see what I'm saying?
I claim that. I claim any compliments. I really appreciate it. But no, I'm not trying to do it for notoriety. I'm not trying to do it for fame. I just feel that this is something that God has blessed me with. And I think it's time that, I did it. Like I told you, I felt like I cheated death. The people that I left behind lost their lives. And, God gave me a second chance. So why not?
I do want to ask this just because you mentioned it. That survivor's remorse. Was it? Is it something that you ever work through, or people that, or that you ever get past, or is it just something that always kind of carries with you?
You work through it with therapy.
Okay. Yeah. No, but that's important. People need to know in the back. They need to do that.
I don't care how old you are or how young you are, it stays with you. And let me tell you something, therapy really helps. I didn't really think that I had that survivor remorse until I went back. Because like I said, I came here when I was 10. I kept in touch with my friends that were back home because all of my family were here. I kept in touch with my friends, lost them, cried, missed them. But I didn't feel guilty until I went back in 2014. Because when I went back and saw how the country had depreciated, and I felt like, and I took my youngest son with me, and actually he really made me realize some things. Then I realized that we're living such a grand life in America, and these people, my people are not. So I felt very guilty. Like, even though I was 10, it wasn't me that bought a plane ticket to come, but I was blessed to have families. My mother was already here. My grandfather brought me, and I was blessed to have family to receive me. A lot of those people didn't have that. And I felt so, so bad when I got home and found out that a couple of my, childhood friends had lost their lives and left their children. So most of their children are the ones that I took on as mine. And one thing about us Africans or foreigners, once you take on, they take on your name, your identity, everything. So people say, oh, you have a lot of children. No, I have 3 biological children, but I have 10 children altogether.
Wow, that's like there's a lot of facts here that I just didn't know. Like I didn't realize that even like I guess in that world, because you take on those children, they wind up taking on your namesake to a certain extent,
Yes.
um, and carrying on your tradition as you're taking
Mhm.
care of them. So it kind of makes sense, I guess. But
Mhm.
now, okay, right. So we're here. You're giving back to the world. You're saving lives. You're just pouring into folk, and then you join. Like you're a part of. You don't just like. We're going to talk about every man counts in that world, and that's actually one of the second fatherhood things that you were that you kind of dove into. But we got the NAACP. Yep, that too. We got you were fighting against domestic violence and gender-based violence, both of them, just violence altogether. You know what I'm saying? You was stopping it. Like I'm telling you, the African Caribbean squad, you there for them too. Okay. Like the Women's Business Center, wait
Mhm.
for it, them too. Okay.
Wow, you did your homework.
Yeah, I did. Yes, yes. Like I told you, I got tired. I said, "Whoa, it's a lot of them." When it's when you were deciding to take, what are some factors that you thought of when you were deciding which initiatives you wanted to be a part of? Because I'm sure you like how did you pick essentially?
Every the reason why I picked those organizations, like I told you, service, community, giving back. If I have not been part of a community or an organization that don't give back to the community or don't get dirty, get their hands dirty. I don't want to just sit behind a desk and say, okay, I'm part of this community. No, I want to be in the community doing something, doing like, let's say, for instance, Women Business Center, at the time was Jessica Gibson, which is one of my greatest friends, and she brought us on as advisory members of the board. And Jessica changed the scope of women in business. And we did so much together. And, she has, and if you don't know who she is, you need to get to know her. You need to have her on here.
Listen,
You
set it
know,
up. I got you.
she is a wonderful, wonderful person. And, she put this whole thing together, which brought a plethora of women entrepreneurs together to do great things in Delaware. With the NAACP as a community co-chair back then. Community is very important. If you want Aja to be part of your team, please do community work. Don't let me do the boring stuff, the office or the desk or going to meetings. No, we got to get our hands dirty because we have to bring people together. um, you know, Gender-based violence. Now, you talk about gender-based, is something that I hold very close to my heart. Domestic violence. Um, as a survivor, um, it's something that I like to talk about to women who don't know how to get out. Um, Women and men who have issues, struggling with understanding why they are victims, um, because it's something that, and when you're going through it, you think it's all you, and it's not the perpetrator, right? You are the victim, but we don't look at ourselves as the victim. We look at ourselves as the problem, like we caused it. We're the perpetrators. They are the victims. So my role on the board as the International Gender-Based Violence Group was to educate and bring awareness to people around the globe about recognizing the signs of domestic violence. So it's not physical like most people think. Domestic violence is emotional, psychological, financial. Those are all forms of domestic violence. But until you recognize it and understand what domestic violence is, you will only think that it's physical, and that's the least of it.
And,
Okay.
and I do want to say again, you in the back, whoever watching this, pay attention to that, because one of the things that people don't do miss often is the financial one. Like that one, they don't
Mhm.
realize that it's like a systemic version of somebody trying to drain your account. People think physical
Absolutely.
violence, but there's levels to how people are being controlled and all types of like, yeah. So please do
Absolutely.
that. That's a whole world.
I remember I did a conference in Liberia, on domestic violence. And, people think domestic violence is synonymous with Africa, which oftentimes we think that because we feel that the men are more controlling and can chastise their wives. However, it's global. It's not synonymous only with Africa, it's global, right? So when I was having this conference, and it was a huge conference, people were everywhere. It was great. I was talking to the women from the villages, and I said, these are things, because they will get up in the morning, go to the marketplace, stay in the sun all day from sun up to sundown, maybe make like $4 equivalent, right? Take it home. Their boyfriend, their husbands would take their money from them, put them, like, leave them at home, go out and spend the money with their girlfriends and drink. That's domestic violence. So we're trying to teach them, look, there are ways to combat that, right? So I was talking to one of the group, and one of the ladies said, well, I understand what you're saying, but how would I know my husband loves me if he doesn't hit me? And that took me back. I was like, wow, I never thought of that. She said, that's all I know. I know to work and bring my money and give it to him. I said, but then what do you do for food? How do you take care of your children? She said, oh, my son goes out and sell early in the morning with me. Why isn't he in school? He'll go to school when he's old enough. Remember, I told you there were 14-year-olds in first grade, 15-year-old in fifth grade. Yes. So, it really dawned on me that these women don't really understand what domestic violence is. So my work was very difficult, and I go home every year, and this is what I do, is have conferences in Ghana, in Liberia. We haven't had a conference in Cape Verde. We do have an Everyman County in Cape Verde, but we don't have a domestic violence group in Cape Verde. But those are the 3 countries that I frequent. But we do a workshop, domestic violence awareness every time I go home, because it's important. It's important. I don't care if I touch one person that understands that, you know what, I need to open a bank account so I don't have to take my money home, so this man can take this and go to his girlfriend or to his friends, and I'm stuck home. I don't have to have him hit me. I can avoid stuff like that. I don't need to confront him when he's angry or when he's intoxicated, because now he's looking for someone to put his frustrations out on. So you have to know how to deviate from certain circumstances. If he's upset about something, learn how to talk in a calmer voice. It doesn't mean that you're submissive or you're stupid or you don't know what you're doing. That means you really know what you're doing, and you don't want to be in harm's way. So we teach them all of that when I go home. So that's some of the things that I love. It's dear to my heart, because I am also a survivor, and I talk about it. I teach people, and I love women and men, because there are men who are abused a lot, a lot. They don't talk about it. So, Everyman Counts focuses on all that too for men in the United States.
Now thank you for that work, because that, when they say doing the work, woo, you doing the work.
You see my hair? It's all gray.
That's it. I thought you styled it that way. It was flat.
No, this is all natural. It's all gray. That's from hard work.
Now, but I would love to know how, like, that's a lot that you take in. How do you handle that? Because you're taking in some heavy stuff.
God. And I know it's a cliche, but I'm going to tell you, when God has put something in your heart to do, He gives you the strength to do it. Sometimes people look at me like, you're running all over the place. You do this, you do that. You're always busy. Sometimes I look at myself, I'm like, I don't even know how I do it. I really don't know how I do it sometimes. But if you love what you do, someone said this, and I'll say it to anybody. It never feels like a work. It never makes you tired, and I have a great team. Don't get me wrong. I have a great, great team here in for Everyman Counts, back home. I have a wonderful team. So it's not only I that is out there in the trenches doing it. I have a great team that works with me, in Ghana and Liberia.
Listen, shout out to the team. Shout out to
Yes,
everybody who's
please,
making this thing work. Because y'all
please.
literally
Yes,
saving lives.
I
Like
have.
there are people who are alive that would not be alive if not for you. And
Oh,
that to me is beautiful.
please shout out to my team because I am not the only one that's doing this. Please, so I love you giving me the credit, but please give it to my team as well.
Yes, yes, yes. Now, okay, right. So now you are saving the world, right? Local and abroad. And you started off, you were with, you were saving the fathers, right? And all of these things. What made you in stateside when it came time to start Every Man Counts? What made you say, you know what, it's time for me to start this initiative on its own? Like I need it to outside of just working through the courts and kind of the way that you were, you said, yeah, I need to start this whole world myself so I can get this vision out. How did that happen? What was that like?
Because the reason why I started it, one, because of my thesis. That was the first one. The
Mm.
secondly, there's no one out there doing what we're doing. We are focused on court, navigating that court system. There's a lot of fatherhood programs out there, but no one is teaching our fathers how to navigate the court system, how to have that win-win outcome. The court system in itself is very scary when you don't understand it. It's difficult. And when I say we, black and brown, we don't get the information that we need. And when we go look for it, sometimes we get half, excuse my expression, as information, and we cannot afford attorneys. Okay. But there are ways for you to get those information without having an attorney, without having a legal background, without any of that. And it's not legal. It is common sense. So we help our fathers. We talk to them. We teach them how to communicate effectively with the judges, with the mediators. We help them understand their orders when they get it from the judge, when they want to file a custody, child support, visitation, whatever. We help them understand what they want. Because most of them come, I want 50-50. What is 50-50? You can't split the child in half. Okay? So don't come to me talking about 50-50 because you heard it on Court Smart, on Court TV or one of these, what is it, Law and Order. That is no such thing. You have to know what you're asking for. You have to understand and let us know what you want. Okay. And I tell people, Every Man Counts don't teach a man how to be a father. We need you to already want to be a father, a better father, right?
Ooh, hold on, do me a favor. I'm sorry. I just want you to do me a favor. Say that one more time for people in the back. I love that. That sounded good. Just do it, give it to me one more time, please.
We don't teach a man how to be a father. We need you to want to be a better father. Okay?
Woo,
Because you're already a father. You just need to
woo.
be a better one. And our motto is better dads, better lives. Because it's very important. I don't care if you've been in jail for 50 years, you're still a father. You can still be a better father.
Woo.
Okay? And that's what we're here to do. So our court smart is so important. We are the only one that I know of in the state of Delaware that has a program like that, that has helped so many fathers navigate the family court system and come out with a win outcome. So that's why we stand out from the rest.
Yes, 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 absolutely. And to me that is awesome to kind of care that much. I think, and again, I'm just, hey, anybody watching this, the replay, however you choose to watch it, if you happen to hit a moment and you like, listen, I can't get my child. I don't know what this is. Every Man Counts. That's what it's called. Every Man Counts. I say it slow for you. Okay,
Yeah.
every man
Every
counts.
man counts. 302-722-5939.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can go on our website and send us a message and someone will contact you.
That's a fact. Now, okay, so now in this world, well, I do want to know, have you ever, is there any flack that you ever received going through this process, right? Like from the other parent that, you know. Is that ever pushback in that world?
What? I'm a woman. Who do you think wants me to help them? Women.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I always get the question, why are you helping fathers? Why are you helping men? Why, you had you were married, you and your husband divorced, you went through, why are you helping? And I tell people all this. I said, if this program was in existence when I went through my divorce, I don't think my husband would have been an absent dad. I really believe he would have been involved because he did what he was taught. He only reacted from what he was taught. Let the mother take care of the kids. When they get older, they'll come look for me. That's what he would think. That's what he said. When they get older, they'll come look for me. Let the mother take care of the kids. And I beg to differ.
Yeah.
Child needs their parent, especially if their parent has been in their lives from birth till 12 years old. 12 preteen, they need you at teenage life. That's when they really start being rambunctious and out of control. But you're expecting the mother to do that and take care of that. How? So you understand why a lot of our boys, young boys, go astray. Because at that tender age is when we need our fathers. Children start bonding with their parent at the age of 2, sometimes even longer. I mean, earlier. But if you're there until they're 12 and you just split and disappear, relationships don't always work. But the relationship between you and your child should always work. Because that woman or that man is in your life for a season and a reason. Your child is in your life for a lifetime. So you should continue to build on that relationship every time, whether you're in the same house or in a separate house, in another state, it doesn't matter. And that's why it's so important to me for Every Man Counts to be so successful in that, bringing fathers and children together, making sure that they're in their children's lives. When I say present, I don't mean you have to be face to face every day. Pick up the phone. Make it a date where every Tuesday you call them FaceTime. Every Sunday you have a prayer meeting with your child when they get older, because children need prayers too. Every day, every now and then when there's a parent-teacher conference, go there. Don't let mom call you and say, oh, he's doing this or she's doing that. You be active. Be proactive. Go into the schools. Put your name on the list. Let them call you as well as mom. Go to the doctors. Put your name on that list. Let them call you. When it's his doctor or her doctor's visit, you take them or you meet them there. It is your right, fathers. It is your God-given right, and no one can take that from you. If you do not have a birth certificate, get it. If you do not have a social security card, get it. It is your right. It doesn't only belongs to mom. You have every right to that child from the time that child is born to the day you leave this earth or that child leaves you. So I hear dad saying, I don't have the child's birth certificate. She don't want to give. Why are you waiting for her to give it to you? If your name is on the birth certificate, why are you waiting for her? Go down to Vital Statistics and get the birth certificate yourself. Go down to Social Security and get your birth. As long as your name is on that birth certificate, you have rights to those things. And if your name is not on it, file a paternity test with the court. Let them do the paternity test. Get your name on the birth certificate. Simple. Or you can go down, do the DNA test, and some vital statistics in certain states will take a private DNA test to put your name on the birth certificate. Fathers, you have rights.
Yes.
Have rights.
I think people think about that phrase so much when it comes to law enforcement and not enough when it comes to parenting. I got rights. Yes, as a parent, you do got rights.
That is so true. That is so true. You're right. But we have rights in everything. Yeah, you're right.
And I think people go through a level of, sometimes it's a level of fatigue that allows them to feel like they want to tap out, and your child doesn't have the opportunity to tap out of you not being there, right? So this is why that is so important. And now throughout the time, right? This is you've been doing, y'all do different events and fundraiser moments and all of these things. What are some of the spaces that kind of stick out to you based on some of the things that you've been able to move the needle with?
Our barbershop conversations are really great. We're about to start those, and I'm going to put this PSA out. We need more barbershops. So if you have a barbershop and you want us to come in and do a barbershop conversation, let us know. 302-722-5939. We're starting our barbershops next month, April, and that runs throughout the summer from April to September. So we want to do 2 barbershops a month. Let us know. And in that barbershop, we have conversation with fathers and moms if they're there. So we do our court smart conversation, sometimes we even bring in attorneys or judges to come in and have a conversation with you. So it'll be fun, open conversation. It's a safe space because I know a lot of men love barbershops and that's where they can feel safe to talk. So that's how we use the barbershops. And if we outgrow the barbershops, we have other facilities that we go to.
That's dope. It's literally meeting them where they are, right?
Yes.
That is definitely a beautiful thing. Anything else that kind of stuck out to you?
Oh God, our fishing trips. Anything else? So we love fishing, right? We haven't done it. We're trying to get it back this year. Trying to put some more people, get more people involved. But our fishing trips we used to take up to 75 fathers and children and mothers fishing for the day. Where we would go fishing to North Bay Adventure Camp. We started at 2014, and we continue until 2021. Right after COVID, we kind of started slowing down because the facility that we use has shut down. So we're trying to bring it back slowly, gradually, so we can start doing it again. But it was one of our biggest end of the summer event where moms and dads and uncles and aunts, everybody came out, got on the school bus. We drove to North Bay Adventure Camp. They hike, they canoe, zip line, fish, net fish, go on the Chesapeake. It was fun. It was a fun day. We got there at 10 o'clock in the morning. We left at 5 o'clock in the evening.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds like a great time and a great experience for people who, because you're in some of the trenches with some of these people. That there are people who won't leave this, who have never left the city as the fathers, right?
Right.
So there was never a thought of the child going anywhere. Like, would you like?
It's true. It's so true. There were so many fathers that was on our trips that have never left the city of Wilmington. And remember now, most of our fathers had been incarcerated. So, when we started Every Man Count, we focused on reentry, in which we still do. But now there's less reentry that's coming in because now it's every father now that's coming into the program. But, it was mostly reentry just to get them back into the community and acclimated with society and teach them and, bond, bring them back with their children. So the fishing trip was so good. When I say good, it was good. So, so it's coming back this year.
That's awesome. That is beautiful. And shouts out to all those involved with that. Like I heard about you. Shout out to Shannon Lolly. Listen, when I say
he's our vice president for Every Man Count.
You got a good one.
I know I got a good one. When I told you, didn't I tell you my team? Yes. I told you, shout out to my team. Yes, my team. Let me tell you something. You're just as good as you can be, right? If you don't have a good team behind you, you'll fall. And I give them credit every day, because, if they don't have my back, nobody will.
That's a fact. Ooh, and like just looking at your team, and you have it online, like looking at all the website's dope. So looking at all the people involved, seeing how everybody is able to come together for the initiative and almost to probably provide a level of mentorship to these men going through these things, right? Is it hard for them to trust you? Not your team, but like some of the men that come to the program. Like you're a woman, and they be like, "Hold on, you sure you ain't trying to fight for us?"
Let me tell you something. The men trust me more than the women.
Really?
The men feel, because I see it through the lens of a woman and from the woman's perspective. The women don't like the fact that I help the men because they feel that I should be helping them, you know. And I'm like, we get all the resources. We have everything. We go to social services. We get, well, here you go, here you go. But when a man comes there, they look at him side eye, like, what's he doing here?
Yeah.
He should already have money. He should already be. No, no. I keep telling people, no, he's human. He's entitled to everything a woman has. And, you know, I tell my fathers when they say, oh, I don't want to, especially when they get custody, and I don't want my child support. Let me tell you something. You're not getting child support. You're building that child's bank account. Build it. Use that money, put it aside, open a bank account for that child. Because eventually that child's going to go to college or trade school or something.
There's definitely some women that ain't like you. I can tell you right now, there's definitely some women that ain't like you. That's a lot.
But that's how it is. I love what I do. I believe in my program. I believe in every man counts. I believe every man do count. Yeah. Okay? I really do. And there are some women out there that are just like me. You know, that and I have 2 on my board. You know, so, and there are women out there that, you know, we want to, you know, ring the bell that there are good fathers out there. There might have been some circumstances that it went the wrong way, or, you know, life happens and life was lifing. But, you know, you give a man a chance, he will show you how good he is. And I tell people that all the time. I'm not saying, look, let me tell you something. I'm a woman, right? And I was married, you know. I'm not saying my husband was the best, but he did his best. You understand what I'm saying? And I love that, you know. And I need the fathers. They may not be the best, but I need them to do their best. Okay? That's all it is. You can only do your best. That's all you can do.
That's a fact.
That's all you can do.
No. Oh, well, now, as we done talked through, again, just in case you don't know, you watching Hats Off with your boy G-Jones, and this episode right now, I am talking to Miss AJa Ajavon. We started with a coup d'etat. Okay. I listen. No, that is not French tea. Okay, you probably was thinking that we would start sipping off some French tea with the coup d'etat. No, a coup d'etat, okay, means, fleeing.
It was a war.
A war. It gets real. You want to know? Listen, the United States has been behind the scenes of a few of them. We probably had something to do with that one.
But that's another topic. But that's
something that's a topic I ain't talking about online. Don't get me in trouble. What I will say, we went from that to saving lives in Delaware and saving fathers. But here's the funny part. It's not funny, but it's interesting. You also ran a successful consulting business. You built a successful consulting firm throughout this process. Can you tell us about your consulting firm?
So I created DAB Mediation Consultant in 2012. And that was wonderful. It was all mediation, and we did a great job. Like I said, we were the first Black mediators in the state of Delaware to have a private mediation practice. You know, when COVID hit, we kind of pivoted. We changed it because then we started doing other things, other consultations. So we changed it. It's DAB Mediation Consultant doing business as AJa Ajavon Consulting Group. So now AJa Ajavon Consulting Group is both international and domestic. We do logistics, we do business management, business development, nonprofit creation, development, and we do grant writing. So, and we do mediation as well. And our mediation stems from family mediation, civil rights mediation, mortgage remodification, and landlord tenant.
Wow. So it's still helping people. Essentially, that's still helping people get their lives together. Wow. When do you sleep?
I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Well, that's morbid, but
No, I sleep. Look, I sleep peacefully. What's that commercial? How do you sleep? I sleep on Serta. Yes. I sleep all the time. I get my rest. I mean, when you're building a business, you don't sleep. To be honest with you, there's no entrepreneur, a true entrepreneur would tell you, oh, when I'm building my business, I slept 8 hours. That's a lie. Okay? That's a lie. But like again, I told you, I've had my practice for a long time, and now I sleep because now I have people doing most of the work, but now I sleep.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad. It shouts out to your consulting firm for all the work that you do with that as well, and everything. Now, I ask all of my guests this, and I'm very curious what you say. I ask all of my guests.
Someone says she doesn't sleep.
Yeah, well, listen. In no offense, Aja, but I just gotta talk to them. I know she don't. I can tell. Okay, so I ain't mean to talk about you in front of you, but you can't see me technically. So okay. With that said, oh man. So okay, now I'm thinking. Like I asked people this, I asked all my guests this, and I'm just curious if you could give advice to a younger version of yourself, right? So there's a younger version of you, a young Aja, but the year is still 2025, right? And if there isn't somebody who has, see, I'm not going to talk about this country, but I'll say a similar situation to yours now. That is a lot, but either way, a younger version of you. Think about all the youth things because that exists. There is a younger version of you in this country. What advice would you give a younger version of you in 2025 with all the 2025 things?
Learn technology. Learn technology because technology will cut you at the knees and you will be limp. I have zero regrets of anything. So my younger self, I'll just say, stay woke. You know, do the same thing, but just stay woke because building anything, it's not an overnight thing that some of these new, TikTok and all that stuff think it is. You can start a business today and be a millionaire tomorrow. That is not the case. I've been doing this stuff for over 30 years. So, just stay woke. If I had to do it again, and I would tell my younger self, stay woke and be vigilant, just don't change much, but just stay woke, meaning be careful of your surroundings. So just be careful of your surroundings.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Everybody that's smiling in your face are your friends. They're Brutus. They're holding the knife behind their back, ready to stab you. So that's about all I would tell my younger self. Just stay woke. Be vigilant.
Yeah. Listen. So stay woke. Listen, I'm just telling you. I didn't say it. She said it. Okay. Okay. That's it. That's it. And get that tech together because that, like, listen,
yes.
That's where the world is at this point. So, oh man, now. Before we get up out of here, I do what I call a quick hat tip, where I give shouts out and gratitude to some phenomenal people who did some dope things or who had some dope events happening, whatever the case may be. With that said, I like to give a quick hat tip. Blip blip. That's a quick hat tip. Blip blip. I'm going straight to your squad first. My man, Chris Anthem. If y'all don't know Chris Anthem, he does have an open mic.
Yes.
Like it was at the Grand. They was up in there. It was diverse in that room too. I said, look at Anthem go. He had them cooking
Yes.
inside there. So gotta give Anthem and everybody who was out at the Grand for his open mic, gotta give them a quick hat tip. Blip, blip. Also a quick hat tip. Blip, blip to Miss T. Brene. Yes, T. Brene and the Holy Mic. They got John Carter tonight, but they be doing it every month, doing a Holy Mic thing once a month, keeping it cooking. I got to. It's like a Christian open mic, right? Which is something that you rarely find. So again, look up that Holy Mic, look up T. Brene. Shout out to her and Christ Vibes Radio. They keeping it blessed with them. You all know what it is. Also, quick hat tip, blip, blip, quick hat tip, E Square Cigar Lounge. They do their joint on Thursday, so they out there cooking right now. I like to show them some love. I don't ever get to go because I be doing the show, but hat tip to them. Also, hat tip, blip, blip. A divine night. That's what's happening right now. Now, if I say a divine night, listen, I wish I could be there as well. I'm talking it now. That's at the Grand too, but that has everybody from Cary Ann and Opera Delaware. They out there cooking. That's J Street up there cooking. That's D Spence up there cooking. That's the ballet, right? And it's all for the divine nine at the same time, bars. But that's what it is. Like it's a whole world of mixed arts brought to you by Opera Delaware. So I got to give a hat tip to all those involved with that. Also, a quick hat tip, blip, blip, instead of quick hat tip, blip, blip, to, well, every man counts. AJa Ajavon, listen, for you to join this show, like for you to, and all the things that you and your team have been able to help people with, you deserve the biggest hat tip. Blip, blip. Is there anybody you would like to give a hat tip to?
Yes, I would like to give a hat tip to my sister, that African butterfly. Bloop, bloop. That's my sister. She used to be our executive director in my absence. So I thank her so much for taking Every Man Count from one step to the next and to what it is now. And I also would like to give a shout out to Shannon Lally, 3M Management Company that has you know, his great artist and and you know, would like to give a shout out to my family, you know, my son Antonio, who's doing his thing, the real Antonio DePino, who's, you know, have Scouts basketball company, my daughter Brea, who is now will be and is going to be the top seller for Madame builders. I'm sorry. My son Davidi, who's in Virginia. And also like to give a very, very special shout out to the man in my life, Mr. Ade, who puts a smile on my face every day. So yeah, those are my shout outs.
Yes, hat tips all around, y'all. Blip, 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 blip. Yes. And just because you mentioned it, I want to bring it up. Shouts out to Shannon Lally, 3G Management, Lyric Lounge, end of this month. Y'all go ahead. It's going to be popping. Araya Love, Latoya Marie. There's a whole vibe out there. Look up 3G Management. Y'all see the vibes. It's coming out. Now, okay. Now, before I get you out of here, the last thing I like to do now, I tell people, if you give me a word, I can give you a poem.
Oh.
So whatever word you got.
Who, me?
Yeah. If you give me a word, I'll give you a poem.
Give you a word. Love.
Okay. I'm actually give me two. You want to give me two? Because I can wake up and do that. That's
really?
Make it easy.
Really? Oh well.
I'll stick with that. But
community.
Okay, there it is. Oh, okay. I like where I'm going with this already. I'm thinking. See, if we just need love in the community, the only way that we can get that is if we can find the best way to give back. And sometimes it can start at where the coup seems to be. See, I need you to understand, while some may think that if you choose to retreat, you may have to meet defeat. But what you can choose to do is give back and give more than just a meet and greet when it's peace that you choose to seek. This is where love chooses to speak. See, we need love in the community. See, if we can all help each other by pouring in just a little bit more, maybe a shot glass of Adore, just so that everybody can understand how they can reach what they were meant to and be with why they are here for. This is the reason. This is the reason, not just why you were breathing, but why you survived that last season. This will show it to you. See, there's a communities of me's and there are communities of you's, and if we can choose to help provide love to each other, then we can also provide clues to help those who were abused. This is what you can choose to do. You have to find you and understand that that moment that they have judged you does not make it final. This is when you can help find whoever you have choose to, well, bring through your offspring so that you can make sure that you can raise them to be who they are supposed to be. The community starts with us banding together mentally. Then you can see, well, let's just say something that is hard for most to understand. But if you can reach out that helping hand and you can help someone else understand that who you are here is the same person you would be if you were helping in a foreign land. They would ask you that. They would try to tell you that that's not facts because whether it's African or it's labeled as black, when the discrimination comes back, it's how are you going to handle that? When the love comes back, how are you going to give that? Are you ready to receive it? Are you ready to believe it? Are you ready to retrieve it? Or are you just going to lie to yourself and allow them to deceive it? See, all I'm asking you to give me is a moment of your time so we can spread out the love through the community. Boom.
Wow. That's deep.
You did it. All I did was wrap up what you said this whole interview.
See.
That was you. I'm an innocent bystander here. But this has been an amazing conversation and an amazing interview. I appreciate you so much for joining the show. Again, this is Hats Off with your boy G-Jones. Anything you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
Don't forget, Every Man Counts Daddy Daughter Tea Party Sneaker Ball 10th anniversary will be on April 12th at the Wilmington Powell on Market Street from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Tickets are $10 for dad and for parent and child, and any additional child is $5. So we do Cash App, or you can go on Eventbrite. But if you want to know, get all that information, you can call us at 302-722-5939, or you can go on our website at www.everymancounts.org, or on our IG, which is Every Man Counts, our Facebook, Every Man Counts. Or you can Cash App us, is $10 for parent and child, which is $EMCBDBL. Every Man Counts, Better Dads, Better Lives. Thank you.
Yes, and I'm gonna tell y'all real quick. If you're watching this, send this to a dad that's questionable, right? You send it to a good dad too. But if you know a dad that's that's questionable or in a questionable position, either or, just slide this in his inbox. Okay, you ain't gotta say too much. Don't add nothing to it. Don't put no sauce on it. Just be like, here. By the way, watch this when you get a chance. Okay, you never know what you're helping or who you're helping.
Absolutely.
Again, thank you so much for being a phenomenal guest and all of the work you do. You are amazing.
It has been a pleasure.
Yes, listen, pleasure is mine. Again, and I tell people, as I tell y'all, I'll see y'all next week. As I tell you all the time, love yourself first and everything else will fall into place. It's Hats Off with G-Jones. I holla. Hey.
Thank you.